So my Hoyas have been growing like crazy, and for the last couple of weeks, I've been meaning to organize everything before it got out of control. Now, you could see there's a mess of vines, flowers everywhere, and if this goes unchecked, the vines start twirling and going through everything, attaching to things, and then you have to kind of chop everything off. So before it got too much more out of hand, I organized everything and I wanted to give you an update on my entire collection. So I have some footage from when I first got some of these Hoyas, and I'm going to show you a couple of new ones. So let's get into it and let me show you my collection. So the first one I want to show you is my Hoya Cummingiana. This is one of my oldest Hoyas. I've had this for a couple of years. I got it in 2021 and it is one of my fastest growers. This was last year. As you can see, it's kind of out of control. I chopped it up a bunch of times. And what sticks out to me is that I got this as a little clipping. So this is what it looked like in November of 2021. And it grew like crazy. And this is literally from one little cutting. I've chopped this orchid up so many times. It's bloomed 2 or 3 times for me. It's got a really nice fragrance, but this is what it looks like now. Gosh, I've given so much of this away. It literally grows like a weed. I wouldn't say the foliage is the best on this one. It's okay. It looks a little bit like, I don't even know, grassy, but it is a very vigorous and quick grower. And wow, it's a big one. Coming up next, we have the Hoya Shepherdii. I've had this in my collection since 2021 as well. And this is the string bean Hoya. So I also got it from a small clipping and it's been growing nicely, but I'm going to give you an update on this one. I kind of want to change things up because I have this growing on a windowsill. It's got beautiful flowers. I'll show you at the end, but it's literally just from one clipping and it's kind of growing all over the place. And I want to chop it up and maybe make it a more bushy plant. As you can see, it's just one vine that's kind of like everywhere. It's got flowers that smell like baby powder. It hasn't really bloomed for me this year, so I think I'm going to chop it up and make it a lot bushier, a lot more. I guess I want to make the pot more full. But this is a pretty one. I think it's really unique, so it's a keeper in my collection. Now the next one is a really common Hoya. I want to show you this one because I didn't do great with it. So it took me a long time to bloom this. This is Hoya Bella. This is another one I got in 2021. It grows very quickly, but I didn't realize that it needs so much water. So I had it in leca and it would never flower. So I ended up putting it in moisture retentive soil and I finally got it to flower a bunch of times. And it's got very pretty flowers. Once I got it into the moisture retentive soil, it did well. That being said, once I figured out how to bloom it, it started declining and I was like, what's going on? The leaves got all wrinkly and then that's when I realized that there were mealybugs in the roots. So sadly, this Hoya declined. It had amazing flowers before it started declining. I chopped the piece off to restart it again and unfortunately it didn't make it, but this was a pretty one. It needs lots of water, lots of moisture. It didn't do well in leca, but when I moved it to soil, it did great. But when I figured out it had root mealies, it was too late. I now use systemic granules, which helped me. This is all that I was able to salvage, but even this didn't make it, so I don't have it anymore. Moving on to the Hoya Finlaysonii, I have this one in like a succulent mix. I was told this doesn't do that great in leca, so I followed the instructions of the person who gave it to me. It took a long time actually for this to start growing, and last year it really hit its stride. I put it on this trellis. It's looking good. This is what it looked like last year. And it didn't really start from much. As you can see, it was just a few leaves. I was so sad because it bloomed for me last year, last May, when I was in vacation in Brazil. So I saw the peduncles and I was so mad because by the time I came back, it bloomed, it was spent, and I hadn't seen the blooms again. But it's growing really nicely. It got these big leaves. It took its time to start growing, but now it's really pushing through. I think I need to change that trellis, but I really like this one. Very pretty foliage. It looks prehistoric even. Really, really nice. I cannot wait to see the blooms again. It was such a bummer when I really didn't see them bloom, but it'll bloom again soon. Okay, the next one is the Hoya Pubicalyx Splash. I got this in 2021 or 2022. And it is a very, very easy grower. This thing can root in anything. And this is last year. I have it in leca. It grows super well. Literally, you can throw it in water, throw it in leca, and it has roots automatically. But I'm having a really hard time in getting this to bloom. So I gave a piece to my friend who lives in an apartment with all south-facing windows, and she got hers to bloom, and I gave her a piece of it last year. So I haven't been able to. It's on an east-facing window. It probably needs more light. It had a peduncle that dried up, but we'll try again. I guess it just needs a little bit more light, but yeah, I gotta tidy it. I don't know what I want to do. It's in my living room, but we'll see. It's growing nicely though. The next one I'm going to show you is very common. It's my Hoya Carnosa. I have two of them. One of them with standard kind of weird leaves and another one with more uniform longish leaves. The other one is a little bit more splashy. This one is, it got a little bit too much light, but I'll say that both of these grow very easily and they bloom very easily. And in the summer they bloom and they don't stop blooming. So let me take you a little bit closer and show you how they've grown for me over time and my thoughts on this Hoya. So I got it in March of 2022, this little one, and it grew very easily. I just have them in leca. It blooms all the time. It bloomed very quickly for me within just a few months, and then they rebloom from the same peduncles. I have it in my bedroom, the one with the nicer leaves, and it smells like Tootsie Roll. It's really, really nice, quite strong, and I just find it so pretty. The other one I have on a top shelf. I'm just gonna let it drape down from my grow shelves and see how it goes. But this is your classic Hoya, very easy, very common, and I like them. And like I said, they just flower all the time, especially in the summer. And over time, they just grow better and better. The flowers just improve. They give you more and more. Right now, when it blooms, it tends to give me clusters of 5 and 6, I guess, clusters of flowers. I'm showing this right now where it normally grows. It had a few that faded, but the blooms on this one last about a week and a half to almost 2 weeks, depending on how hot or cool it is. And it doesn't stop. I think I might try to hang this one in my bedroom at some point, maybe take it off the trellis. I really like it. Just it blooms so often that it's worth it to me. Let me show you another one that's really similar to the Hoya Carnosa, and it's the Hoya Crimson Queen. Now these have the same flowers, but the leaves are variegated on the outside. And this one, it got a lot of light, so some of those leaves kind of look a little toasted and they don't have variegation, but I'll say that the vines that grew, they ended up doing really well. So I got it in 2022. It started small and it just grew really fast. So that's what I like about Hoya. They tend to grow faster than my orchids, so that's why I like them. And again, the blooms last a week and a half to 2 weeks. Once they bloom, they rebloom from the same peduncles. So this is what it looks like now. Good variegation, very pretty. And like I said, every year the blooms improve. The flowers smell really good. They smell like Tootsie Rolls, and it's nice. Like when it gives you a full bloom, I think it's very pretty, and I really like the flowers on this. Some people don't like Hoyas because they say that the flowers are repetitive. I honestly don't mind, especially when the flowers last a little bit longer. Some of them don't last that long, but they are fragrant and they're very pretty. I'm going to show you another variation of the Carnosa, and this one is the Hoya Crimson Princess. This one has variegation on the inside, and it started with 2 clippings, one on the left, and then another clipping that I got that I didn't take a picture of, but it was small. It started getting pretty bushy. It took some time, and this is what it looked like last year. Very pretty. When it starts growing, the flowers come in, not the flowers, the leaves. The white part comes in kind of pink, so they come in very pretty. This one has beautiful foliage. I have it growing in my bedroom. It hasn't bloomed for me at all yet, and it kind of, the growth slowed down, so I need to check that root system, make sure there's no mealybugs in there. I have struggled with mealybugs with my Hoyas until I started using systemic granules, so kind of have to treat them. That's the downside with the Hoyas. And there's a little orchid I wanted to show you. Anyway, the last one in the Carnosa series that I have is the Hoya Carnosa Compacta, which is the Hindu rope. And I got this a couple of years ago from my friend Maria. She sent me this beautiful Hoya, and it started out small. I put it in leca and it got really long. So this is what it looked like last year. It is one long vine, this crinkly vine, and it's just doing so great. So this is the progression over time from 2022 to 2023. And it's bloomed for me a few times. And the flowers, they grow at any point from that vine. So it gives a really nice show. Same flower as the Carnosa, just the foliage is different. And this is what this Hoya looks like now. So it's just a really long vine. I should probably cut it and then start another plant to make it a little bit more bushy, but we'll see. I kind of like this one long vine. We'll see what I do with it, but I'm very happy with it. Okay, moving on to one of my more vigorous Hoyas, and it blooms all the time. This one's my Hoya Khroniana Super Silver. I don't even know how I feel about this anymore. So it blooms often. It's highly fragrant, very strong, but it just grows out of control. So it started with just a few leaves, maybe 4 or 5 leaves. It rooted very quickly and it grew really nicely. That being said, it lost most of the silver. I still have some silver leaves, but now it's just splashy, so it reverted, and some of the old leaves are dying off. Now, this grows so much that it blooms so much that it just makes a mess all the time. But that being said, it smells amazing. It fills the whole apartment up and it blooms all the time. So I guess I can't complain. Next is the Hoya Retusa. I got this from my friend Maria as well. And I've had some ups and downs with this Hoya, in that I started it kind of small. This is what it looked like last year. I had it in my living room, but it started off as a clipping in 2022. It grew so much that I had to move it to a basket down the line. It's got these pretty flowers. They're not clusters, but they're individual flowers that smell incredible. If you guys know the Neophonetia falcata, it has like that gardenia lemony fragrance. This has a very similar fragrance. It's nice, it's strong. I moved it into this, but then it got mealybugs, guys. So I had to kind of chop it up and start it over. This was last year. I ended up treating it, starting it over, and moving it to soil, like a succulent mix. And then unfortunately, I noticed some mealybugs again, but never fear. I got my systemic granules, so I treated it last weekend when I noticed, but Hoyas are mealybug magnets, but now that I have the systemic granules, I've been able to control them better. So I'm keeping an eye out on them, but I had to restart this one, but I really like this Hoya. Very beautiful foliage. Next, we have the Hoya Obovata, and these are these are bigger leaf Hoyas. And I have the standard and I have the variegated version. They're growing pretty well since I've gotten them. I ended up putting them in like a succulent mix as well. They're growing really nicely. The variegated one took some time to start growing. Sometimes you'll notice that they'll vine out before the leaves fill in. This is a standard one. It pushed the peduncle that dried up, so it never bloomed, but hopefully I'll see it soon. But we'll see. It's got nice, pretty leaves, so we'll see what this does over time. So far, it's just grown for me. I think the leaves are pretty. They're a little bit splashy, but the variegated one bloomed for me. And this is what the variegated one looks like now. I mean, the variegation is a little bit toasty because it's kind of close to the lights, but when it bloomed, it was very pretty. Again, it took a long time for it to hit its stride, but it's doing great now. It is, like I said, it bloomed. I thought it was so pretty. It bloomed before the other one that's bigger, so that's kind of nice, but they both have the same flower. Moving on to another Hoya in my collection. This one is the Hoya Bilobata. This one grows really nicely, but it took a long time for it to bloom. It's been in my collection about 3 years, I think. I just keep trellising it, similar to the Khroniana. It grows really well. And what can I say about it? It's very succulent-like. It really tested my patience, but it finally bloomed for the first time this year. This is what it looks like now. It bloomed and then it's reblooming from the same peduncle here. And it's really cute. I mean, it's got nice leaves. My biggest mistake when I rooted these is that I didn't make the pots bushy. So they're on this trellis, which I think looks nice, but I kind of want to start hanging them, making them a little bit more bushy, and then put them in hanging pots. But no complaints on this one. It just took forever to bloom. It had no fragrance. That being said, I had the Hoya Burtoniae, and I had a lot of problems with this one because it hardly grew. So it looks just like the Bilobata, and Bilobata grew so much that I was like, what the heck is going on with Burtoniae? It never grew. And then I just gave it time, and every year it was the same. In hindsight, it probably had mealybugs. In the beginning, I didn't really know. This is what it looked like last year. Maybe it pushed like 2 leaves or 3 leaves in that year. But I mean, this won't be surprising. It ended up dying on me, but it probably had mealybugs. I know better now. And like I said, I got my systemic granules, and that tends to solve the problem pretty quickly. But those are what the flowers look like. Okay, next is the Hoya Kerii. This one is also in a soil. This is what it looked like last year. I got this from my friend Griselda. She had a bunch of these, and I thought it was so cute to get the heart leaves. It's never bloomed for me yet. This is what it looked like when I first got it in 2023. It was kind of slow to grow, but then it pushed out a vine, and guys, this is what it looks like now. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. This is not the most flexible Hoya, so if I tried to put it on a trellis and I almost snapped it. So we'll see what happens, but check out how it's growing at the moment. So it seems to just vine from the vines, and it's long. So I just have it growing along the wall, and the leaves will eventually fill in, but I got to figure out what I'm going to do with this. But we'll see. It'll be fun to see how it grows. I will patiently await the flowers. They look pretty. We'll see how long it takes. I probably will take a long time. Anyhow, this one is Hoya Pachyclada. I really wanted this when I first saw it because I thought the flowers were beautiful. It's a slower grower for me. This is what it looked like last year. I think the leaves are very pretty. It's one of those with bigger, thicker leaves. I got this cute little trellis for it. And I ended up giving a piece to someone. I ended up trading it for Hoya Rosita, which I still have it in water. And I didn't show it to you guys in this video, but this is what it looked like when I first got it in 2023. I find that it grows slow for me. It has a dormant peduncle that never bloomed, but I can't wait to see it. When I saw my friends, I was like, oh my gosh, I really need this one. I cannot wait. It's got these dormant peduncles, as I said. So I'm just like looking at them like, come on. So as you can see, I cut it up for someone on the right-hand side. So I gave them a few leaves, but now it's pushing out another vine on the other side. And now we're up to the moon. So we were not up there last year. So it only gave me 2 leaves in a year. So very slow, but we'll see what happens over time. That vine is promising, but sometimes I find that they're slow, then they just grow like crazy. So hopefully it does that, but check out the flowers. I just find them so pretty. Okay, moving on. This one is Hoya Wayetii, and I got this from it was like a farmer's market actually. And it grew well. This was the original pot that it came in. And then over time, I noticed that it got a little bit dehydrated. So I ended up checking out the root system, and surprise, 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 surprise. I don't know. You guys know that meme. But anyway, I had to chop it up and start over and put it in, what is that? I put it in like, not a succulent mix, but some cocoa peat with lots of perlite. And of course, I have my systemic granules in there. So it bounced back. But also, I want to show you my Hoya Cummingiana variegated, which looks very similar. They say they're different, but they look the same to me. But wanted to share both. This one is slightly variegated. The other one is fully variegated. But this is the Wayetii flower. Okay, moving on. This one is my Hoya Macrophylla Albomarginata. I got this at a flower shop in the city. I remember I was just taking a break, walking around, and I saw this and I had to have it. This is what it looked like in the flower shop. It grew nicely. I still have it in the original pot. It's growing nicely. I have it in my living room window, and this is what it looks like now. Zoe bit a corner of it. I saw her and she didn't like the way it tasted and she never messed with it ever again. Thank God. So I will leave it here in my living room. I probably should get a bigger trellis for it or maybe let it hang down. That's the dilemma with these. They have really nice foliage, but I want them a little bit more full and I might change it up next year and just really let them hang. It's just a good one. Next one is Hoya Hot Som Paen. Got this from my friend Maria and it's growing really well. This is in a succulent mix and this is what it looked like when I first got it last year and this is what it looks like now a year later. So it's been growing nice. I have it around some bonsai wire. The leaves look really good. We'll see how it does when it blooms, but so far so good. Let me show you what the blooms look like. Hopefully it blooms for me soon. Like I said, sometimes they have growth spurts, so we'll see. I got this one as well from Maria. This one's Hoya Mindorensis Red. Unfortunately, this one didn't make it, so sorry, Maria, but I wanted to show you guys because this one has a different kind of flower. Very pretty, but rest in peace. Okay, this is Hoya Mathilde, and I forgot to record an update on this one, but I have it at the end, so you guys will see it in the footage, but this took a while to kind of hit its stride. I have two of them. A friend actually sent me a more splashy version, but this one started vining a year later and pushing out way more growth. So sometimes it takes some time. Let me show you the other one. So this was last November. It actually started with 3 leaves, and this is what it looks like in August. So some of these just are very vigorous and they take very quickly. You could start with 2 or 3 leaf cuttings and they just go crazy. So that's what I like about Hoya. They can be easy, like they root easy, some of them. The smaller leaf ones, in my opinion, do, and they do well in leca or like a succulent mix situation. But I can't wait for it to bloom, so we'll see. The next one is Hoya Verticillata. It's labeled as Parasitica, but the name changed. I got this upstate, so I went to, where'd I go? I went near Albany last year to this farm, and they had a garden center, and I was surprised to see some Hoyas there, so I picked this one up. It's been growing nicely. I haven't done anything to it, but we'll see what happens as it gets bigger. It's starting to vine, starting to hit its stride, and this is what the flowers look like. So I'll keep you updated on this. The next one is the Hoya Sunrise. So I got a box of like 10 clippings from my friend in Las Vegas. She has a huge collection of Hoyas. So last summer she sent me clippings and there were just a couple of leaves, but they were so vigorous. I got to upgrade the trellis. This is just on some wire, it's getting a little top heavy, but this one is known for the coloring. So this one gets a little bit sun stressed. Very pretty flowers. So you guys will see it soon. This one also came in that batch. This is Hoya Rangsan. It's got beautiful leaves. It's starting to grow really well. It rooted very easily. We'll see how it goes as it gets bigger. I got to rethink some of these trellises because some of them are a little bit shorter, but maybe I'll make it bushier. Like I said, I think that's my biggest regret with some of these. I need to make them bushier before committing to trellis. But this is what the flower looks like. Very pretty, unique too. Next is Hoya Pallilimba. It came in that box that I got from my friend, and this actually came in bloom when I first got it, but it dried up, so I didn't get to see it. So I find that this is growing very easily. Again, it just started with like a few leaves and just grew so easy in leca. I actually got dry flowers from another Hoya stuck in there, so it's not from this plant, but this is what the flowers will look like. It looks like it's going to have a lot of sap, so we'll see about that. Next is the Hoya Sigillatis. Also came in that box from my friend. I got 10 really good ones, actually, and they're growing nice. This is beautiful. It's like a silver Hoya, small leaves, growing well in leca. Very nice. We'll see what it looks like when it finally blooms. The blooms are different. These are a little bit more unique. Maybe I'll make it more bushy, but it's a cool one. Next, also from that box, is the Hoya Latifolia Snow Queen. This one is in a succulent mix, and anything that's like a thicker leaf, I feel like I'm starting to do that more. I don't know, ever since I got the Finlaysonii, I'm like, oh, maybe this will do better, but they're all pretty adaptable, pretty easy to grow. Nice big leaves. I ended up chopping off a piece and giving to a friend, but we'll see how it does. I'm gonna look forward to this foliage. These are nice and big, and this is the flower. Next, we have the Hoya Shepherdii yellow. I got the variegated one too, and I forgot to record it for you guys, but this one has a very unique flower. Again, it roots really easy. I really need to get a new trellis for this one. Maybe I will make it bushier. Maybe I'll let them hang. These are like the dilemmas with the Hoyas. Like you could start with a clipping, but you really want them bushy if you want them hanging. But guys, check out the beautiful flower. Very, very unique. So we'll see. And I hear it smells really good. Next is the Hoya Iris Marie. This one rooted really easily. It actually grows like a weed, honestly. I even cut it up for someone already. It's been in my care for a year. It came in that box. According to Vermont Hoyas, this one's very easy to grow, but a little bit more difficult to bloom. So we'll see. This is what the flower looks like. Kind of reminds me of Bella. Anyway, guys, I forgot to record my Numeroides, which is right there in the front, but yeah, I skipped a few of them, so my apologies. There's that Hoya Mathilde I was mentioning, but this is what the collection looks like after I tamed all of those vines, after I got rid of all those spent flowers. I think I'm procrastinating on repotting my orchids, so I shifted my focus to the Hoyas. I will get the repotting done. It is the last week of August, so I really don't have much more time, but this is what it looks like now. If you guys made it till the end, I know this is a very long video. Leave me a flower emoji down below to let me know you made it this far. This is my collection. I don't think I'll be getting more Hoyas, though I'll say that I really do enjoy them because they grow easily, they're fragrant, and they bloom often. Some of them, not all of them, as you can tell, but the ones that do, the common ones, I really like them. So I just find them easy, and they kind of give me a break from the orchids, which take a lot longer to bloom sometimes, or a little bit more difficult to grow. So I like having the variety. The leaves also look good. This one is Lacunosa Ruby Sue. I didn't show you this one because it looks kind of like the Khroniana, and that is that Carnosa that I didn't show you from before. But, you know, I like to have variety in my collection, and again, like I said, it kind of gives me a break from the orchids, and I'm happy that I'm almost done repotting. All these shelves are completely done. I just have to get this top shelf out of the way, and I'll be done with it in 2 weeks, I think. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, everyone.